So let's go back to here. Okay. So if we go back into My Grammarly, what you're going to do with your draft is basically upload the draft. So if we hit this upload, you can either paste or upload a draft into here. Most of you will probably upload it. Okay, so if we click this upload, see it'll go in and it'll ask you to upload. If you hit new, it gives you different options and you can paste. So if I go into, let me find one to upload here. Just a couple clicks. Okay, I'll upload this one. And as soon as I upload, this is a previous student essay. Okay, what you're going to see is as soon as I upload it, all these things on the side, all the things that are underlined, Grammarly searches your document for potential problems. Okay, it doesn't find absolute grammar and usage errors. What it finds is potential problems. Okay, and that's the value in this. It doesn't go and look. Everything that it finds is not a definite problem. What it finds, and the algorithm is set to find, incidences of, like higher probabilities of problems. So it checks, and if it sees something that could possibly be an error, then it will tag that, and basically it'll show up here, it'll underline it, okay, and then what it'll do is it'll highlight it over here, and these cards that it has, see how it says click to expand card. If you click on this, see it says passive voice. Most of them have these cards there, and what the cards do is the cards will they basically give you a definition or a description or an explanation of what passive voice will be, or the grammar or usage rule, and then they'll give you examples of correct or incorrect. This one has all correct, because they're telling you examples of passive voice. Okay, but they'll also go ahead and, like if it's a rule, they'll show you correct usages and incorrect examples. Okay, and then what you do is you go over and you take a look at this and decide whether, okay, should I change this or should I not? And if you think it should be changed, you can go right into the text and change it. But if you think it's okay, then you go down here and just click ignore, and then this will disappear from the screen, and the underline will go, and then you can move to the next. And you basically work through your document, and then when you get to the end of your document, you can run the whole thing through Grammarly again, and it'll recheck what you've done. And you can theoretically do that until you get to the point where you get a score of 100. Okay, and so that's what we're going to probably ask you to do. Most instructors ask you to do that for 2 of your deadline drafts. I know my students do that for 2 of their deadline drafts. Okay, and you can't always get 100 because some of the problems will always show up as potential problems, because like I said, this looks for potential problems, and some sentences will always show up as potential problems, just because they're potential problems. Okay, so and that's one thing to understand about this, is that some things are just potential problems. Okay, so there is not like necessarily a right or a wrong to any of these. Okay, so it is up to you, and that is why this teaches you and does not dictate whether it's right or wrong. So this isn't like spell check or something like that. It isn't like even like that kind of level of definity, even though that isn't even definite. Okay, this is something where you really want to take a look. So let's look at this. If we click on this passive voice, this sentence appears to be written in passive voice. Consider writing in the active voice. Passive voice is not a grammatical error, but a stylistic choice. So this is really like obviously passive voice is a choice, and the old approach to passive voice where like if you hear instructors say never use a passive voice, well, sometimes it is good to use the passive voice. Sometimes there's a purpose to using the passive voice. When the passive voice is just used because it's more convenient, that isn't necessarily a very good reason to use it. Then it's better to use the active voice because the active voice makes your writing more energetic and more forceful, and it also is more direct and clearer, okay, and more concise for the reader. So, Brave New World is a novel written by Aldous Huxley. Sorry, it was published in 1932. So it's passive because it doesn't say who published it. It says it was published. So there's no clear identification. It says it was published by, and then it doesn't tell you who. Okay, but that isn't necessarily something horrible. So unless we like want to say want to make a big deal and say Huxley published it, but Huxley really didn't publish it. The book publisher published it. So this is something where this is something where I would rather just ignore because I don't think it's an issue. Okay, and there we have 1932, and this one doesn't have a card just because they're saying, well, this is something where it's a comma usage issue. Okay, and like this is like a stylistic thing, and you can talk with your instructor. I don't want to do like a lesson on comma usage here, but there are times when you need commas, and there are times when you want to place a comma in and it's optional, but you can place one in to provide like an indication of pause for the reader, or you can like indicate like or give like separation in the sentence and so on. Okay, it was published in 1932, but is set in London in the year AD 2540. Well, see, this is a stylistic choice. So like this is something where you could probably argue one way or the other, but see, because this is saying but, that's kind of like saying however. So this is more along the line that it appears that you have an unnecessary comma and a compound predicate. Consider removing it. I would say for me, I would prefer to have that comma because I think it places um, a good pause there. So this is another one where I would ignore it. Okay, but this is one where you could argue either way. Okay, and see, you could go through and that one is going to show up, by the way. That one could show up like time after time. But once you ignore that one, that one will go away. Anyway, you go through all of these, and like by the time you get to the end of your draft, it's going to see how the score goes up. Like we began at 72, and it'll just keep on rising, and it had like so many critical issues, and it has like some other types of issues. Okay, the next thing that I would say, by the way, the score here is usually, don't think that like a 72, that would be bad if you were like getting graded on this. you'd go, oh my gosh, a 72. But a 72 is kind of normal. Like, this isn't a bad essay. This is just a complex essay. And usually the more complex the writing is, the more likely the score is going to be lower, because the more potential problems the writing is going to have. So you can have a very good piece of writing and it'll get a low score just because it has many potential problems. And that is what you want to know about Grammarly. Just because it gives you a 72 or a 68 or something like that doesn't mean that you have a horrible piece of writing. It means that there's a lot of potential problems that could be there, and many things to check to see. Okay, and so that's you know the difference between this and something that says these are all problems. You don't want to go in and you don't want to look and say everything that is in here needs change, because as you saw, we didn't even change anything yet. Okay. Huxley paints many horrific scenes throughout the book that are not so fictional anymore. Okay, so you can see there's some stuff here that not. So here it's giving you some examples that it picks up something, but it's not really quite what it's picking up here. Sometimes it'll give you things that it'll say, okay, well, you could change this, and it'll give you shortcuts here, but don't necessarily think there either that it's going to give you the right choice. Again, this is a computer program. It's an algorithm designed to identify potential problems, and sometimes it's going to be right, and sometimes like more than likely, you are going to be the vehicle. I would say 80% of the time you're going to be the vehicle that will be the one who will make the right decision, not this algorithm. Okay, actually 95% of the time. So just keep those things in mind. Okay. It does tend to, for some people, this is a wonderful service, and for other people, it doesn't really help them much. And I would say that it just depends on what kind of grammar and usage issues are in still, like at work in your writing that need addressed, and like how you might interact with something like this. If this service, you go through this twice and it kicks out, one or two, maybe three problems that you had, oh my gosh, we are so much further ahead of the game because of that. That would be a wonderful, wonderful result. If it does more than that, that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. If you go through and you use this, like for the rest of the semester, and maybe, like into into another semester until, like you feel, like you're on solid ground. And after that, like you say, hey, okay, I'm on solid footing and I don't need this anymore. That is also an awesome thing. And so, just use this for whatever is personally appropriate for you and whatever works for you. If you go through this and in 2 times through it, you say, you know what, my writing is above this, and I would say for probably about probably 35% of you, that's going to be, you might kick 1 or 2 things out with this, and that'll be it. Okay. But even the best writers, I would imagine you're going to find like 1 or 2 things, and so give it a chance. Take a look to see whether it can kick like a few things out of your writing, and use it for that, and then move beyond it. So try to take advantage of the time that we're asking you to spend with it, and then get out of it. Because like I said, we don't want anyone in these courses to become addicted to this. Okay. Now, when you do run through this, one thing that I do want to say is these buttons over here. As you see, there's a download. You can download stuff. You can go in and copy like the whole document. When you're done going through, you can click download here, and it will actually download. Like if I go in here, like see if I wanted to change this. Huxley paints many horrific scenes throughout the book that are not, okay. Ooh, there's another are not. So fictional anymore, okay. And we'll say anymore is anymore. See, here's one where it actually is. So we'll click on that, okay. And the propos, okay. So here's another one where this is purpose. So their purpose, and see how as soon as I change something, it takes it out there. But do you see if I change it, it'll erase that. So you do want to run it through again to make sure. Wrote this novel. Huxley wrote this novel to reveal the disillusionment, skepticism, and doubt of brave. And they're saying this repetitive. This is repetitive because you said novel up here. Okay, so I'm going to ignore that too because I don't think it's too repetitive. Okay, so already I've worked through this thing. Anyway, so you see, we've worked through like a pretty good chunk. So once I go to download this, like I'll click download and see it allows me to download it right back into a Word file. And so once you're done with this, you're going to have a revised, edited document. Okay, and that's the beauty of this. And so those of you like in my class, once you've done this, then I'll ask you to like basically save a PDF that will give me the revised score that is as close as to 100 as you can get, and also to give me the revised file and put that into a Dropbox. Okay.